Hi everyone, Class 47 Peter here, and I'm here today with a layout update. Haven't done one of these in a while, and so I figured it was now time to get one done, because there is going to be a few things that are going to be getting done on the layout now. There's quite a few things I've got planned to do on the layout, and a few things that I have done on the layout recently, and so I thought I'd do a video on it. So, let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's just get straight to the point. Let's just get straight into the video. The first thing I've been doing is I've started to rethink some of the areas on the layout. One particular is this area here, which I'm sure some of you might have noticed in my videos, if you've got the eagle eye, that is. And what I've simply done here is I've tried to make it like an overgrown sort of siding, just to try and add a bit more interest, such as putting a few bits of scatter in between the rails in various parts, putting down lots of bit of scatter and bushes there and stuff, just to simply make it overgrown. I've even put a few grass tufts down as well, as you can see. There's even a couple on the rails as well I've put on the tracks, but the wagons are covering most of them up at the moment. Something else I've been doing as well, speaking of the wagons, I've started to, and I've mentioned this before, but I have started to now put wagon loads in my wagons. And I might do a video on this actually at some point. And I'm doing this because I just think that the wagons look more interesting with the loads in them, rather than just empty wagons running around the layouts, because that can be a bit boring, to be honest, and I found that to be not that much interesting on the layout, to be honest. So to try and add more realism and interest and even detail to the layout of sorts, I've decided to simply put wagon loads in my wagons of all different kinds, and I'm quite pleased with them so far. Here's a couple I'm currently working on. Here's the Oxford Rail Any Grey 4-plank wagon, which you saw in the review. And what I've done so far is I've put some of these packing cases in it. It's not finished yet. I need to buy a couple more of these. I'm going to add a couple more in here. I think I might just be able to get 2 more in there at the most before it's then done. So I've only added a couple in there so far, but I shall be getting some more and putting them in this, and then it will be finished. So there's that wagon, and then there's these two. Now I'm thinking about doing the same idea as I have done with that wagon, and a wagon that's already on the layout, it's got packing cases in. But there are other ideas I'm playing around with, so I might perhaps put one of these wagons with packing cases in. Maybe this wagon or this wagon. I haven't decided yet. Then I might put a different load in one of the other wagons, because I have got various other ideas, like I said, I'm playing around with, so that could be a possibility. That wagon just simply won't stay put. So there's these wagons as well that I'm currently working on. Something else I've done is I have, some of you might have noticed, there was on this line here, there was an express point which went up to a small disused siding up here. Now I have taken that point out because those points, very much like the ones that were over there originally, were causing problems. I mean, the particular points that were here, I mean, they would occasionally cause models to derail, only occasionally. I mean, I had a weird problem, and this seems to have stopped now they've replaced those points, but models on that particular section up there, on this track here, would run slow over that side, and then suddenly speed up down here. I mean, to be honest, I mean, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be raising this part of the layout up, because it's sort of, well, it needs to be raised up a bit to give it more support. So that's something we are going to be doing. That's one of the upcoming jobs to do that we'll be doing quite soon. But also, I mean, there was a big problem I had was that it could have been a dodgy joint on it or something, but something that started to happen recently on this particular line, models wouldn't run properly. You'd have to keep trying to press the joint down, or pressing down on that part of the point where there was a joint, possibly a dodgy one, to try and get the models to run. Sometimes it'd just be, well, just simply stopping and starting and simply not running as they should. Taking those points out, it's not happened, so maybe there's something wrong with the points, I don't know, but there's no point keeping them in because they're just more trouble than they was worth. What I also had to do was I had to replace a couple of sections of track along here because they weren't in the best nick. So I did that, and I've also put some more ballast down. Which looks a bit better, I have to say now. So I've got some better looking track. I've also put down that little foot crossing there. I've still got to repaint part of the path. It's just up to there, because you remember the points was here, there's a bit of track. So I've got to simply just paint the path up to there, basically. Just getting a bit of ballast on there. So that's the next thing to do, which I shall be doing quite soon. One thing you might have noticed recently is that a couple of pieces of fencing by the level crossing are now missing. I've simply removed those. I mean, to be honest, the fencing I put up along there I'm not particularly pleased of quite recently, so I'm going to put some better fencing up. I've already removed the pieces along that side of the track, as you can see. Those bins there and the milk churns are going to go and move them elsewhere. I might put some security fencing up there, but then again the stuff I had originally, the security fencing, some of it got damaged, so I might have to get some better ones. Or I might put some better fencing up, I don't know. Then these two buildings here, this one and this one, I'm going to think about changing them. They look alright, don't get me wrong. That's my next job. Glue that wheelie bin back on, where that little bloke is just there. So that's what I'm going to do later. But yeah, so we have a little bungalow there, and then this building here, which is actually an old station building. So what I'm going to be doing is something I've been thinking about recently, is replacing these two buildings with some better ones. Because rather recently, well, in the case of this building it was a case of working whatever you had, because I didn't have any more buildings at the time. But I'm thinking about now getting rid of this building, which I shall be doing, and replacing it with a better one. I might even slightly rework this area. I might take out that tree. In fact, there's a couple of plant pots down there. I'm going to move those. Might even re-glue the fencing back on. Possibly rework it a bit. So that's going to be fun, he said. But you know, it's all part of the hobby. There's nothing wrong with changing anything on the layout. Right, so I'm now going to show you some new items for the layout, which I got for my birthday that's just gone. And there's a lot of new items in here for the layout, which are all obviously going to be used on the layout, particularly in this video, which is the reason why I wanted to do this update in the first place. and so I thought I'd show you all these new items I got first. So I've already got plans to use for these, so we'll make a start. So first of all, there's a couple of Metcalfe kits in here. First of all, we have this one, which is a village school, which is going to replace one of those buildings on the layout. Which, the one I'm going to replace this one with, or the building that's going to be replaced by this one I should say rather, is going to be replacing the old station building. Basically the one that's closest to the track. Because this building will look a lot better there, I think. In my opinion. And I do love building these Metcalfe kits, they are quite fun to do. So I shall get that one built. And then that shall go in place of that building. See, it will look a lot better there and more suitable, I think, for that part of the layout. And then there's this one, which is a factory entrance and boiler house. Now I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this. Well, I haven't decided where I'm going to put it yet on the layout, so this is where I need to start thinking of ideas. I will think of something. I shall get this built, and then I've got to figure out where I'm going to put it and where the most suitable place is to put it. That's going to be an interesting one to build and an interesting one to have on the layout. So next up we have some trees. Not too sure who manufactures these ones, but they'll be used as well. Then next up we have these, some Bachmann Scenecraft Hampton Heath Colliery wood stacks. I have actually got a couple of those on the layout already. Or I did have some, at least. So that'll be nice. I can put those by the side of the track or something. Then we have these. I'm not going to try and attempt to pronounce that. But these are some flowers in plant pots. With the exception of that shovel and bucket there. And these look really nice. Because I had some empty plant pots in some of the gardens, so I could just simply replace those with these flowers in the plant pots, because they'll just look much better. I want to add more interest and detail to the layout. Then we have these, some cows, which are not going to be used on the layout. I have another idea for them. Because I have got the Oxford Rail Any cattle wagon and that old Hornby cattle wagon that don't have any cows in, so I'm going to put these cows in those wagons. Put a couple in the Oxford Rail cattle wagon, and then I can put a couple in the Hornby one. So I can put 3 cows in each of those wagons, possibly. Might use fewer, I don't know yet, but they shall be going in those wagons. Because I was actually planning to get some cows anyway, but I don't need to now. Now they've got these. Then we have this, a Hornby Scaledale telephone kiosk, an old red telephone box. That one looks very nice. I have got a modern day telephone box on the layout, so I can find somewhere to put that old one. I mean, you could actually put that in someone's garden, because I have actually seen in real life people collect these and put these in the garden, so I could perhaps utilise something like that on the layout. There's a whole world of possibilities with model railways. You can do all sorts of different ideas. Then we have these. Some ratio kits, GWR station fencing. Don't necessarily have to use them on a station. And I might actually place some of the fencings up there and by that one building utilising these, I don't know yet. Next up we have these. Again, don't know who manufactures this. It's fencing of some sort. No idea what I'm going to do with this yet, but I'll find a use for it. Then we have these. Some Batman wheelie bins. Got a couple of wheelie bins on the way out, so I can put some more on. I did put some wheelie bins in random places on the layout, so I can take them off, move them in different places, and then utilise some of these wheelie bins, particularly around the village and all sorts of other areas on the layout. So they'll look really nice. Then we have these, some concrete bollards made by Batman. Not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but I have an idea. Then we have this, which I'm not too sure. Oh, dropped it. Butterfingers. I'm not too sure what this is actually. I think it's some sort of war memorial thing, but I'm not 200% certain what it is. Then we have a Dapper Mother Railways war memorial. Very nice, so I'll get that built and put on the layout. We've also got some Batman milk churns. We then have some Javis Countryside Scenics bushes, so I've been needing some more bushes. We've also got some foliage as well. In fact, I've got a couple of these in here, so these will come in handy. There's some more bushes in here as well. Quite a lot in this one. You've got, now this is nothing to do with the layout, some milk chocolate trains. Can't use these on the layout, but they will taste very nice indeed. We've got some Bachmann line-side cabinets, very similar to those relay boxes I've got on the layout. So I shall get some of these on the layout. Definitely. Which means I'll have a lot more of those line-side cabinets on and relay boxes, so that will be quite nice to have. We then got some Bachmann grit boxes, which are used for salt grit basically. As well as some Bachmann platform tractor units, so I can put these on the station of course. In here we have some more foliage. Now we have these. Now again, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that in case I get it wrong. But we've got some flowers, which are actually kits. So I'll be looking forward to building these and putting those on the layout. In the gardens, the most appropriate place to put them. There's a couple of these. These are tulips. These are, I I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce those. Is it... No, I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm not going to risk it. It's knowing me, I'll probably get it wrong. And some garden lupines. So that's what we have so far. And then these last items in here, we have a couple of bags of these, some cars. In fact, actually one of these bags of cars was given to me on New Year's Day as a present. So I had one of these for my birthday, and one of these on New Year's Day. I've got no idea who manufactures them, to be honest. But those can go on the layout. We then have some pigs. So on the one layout, well, on the one section of the layout, up by where the narrow gauge layout is, up at the top, there is a field of pigs. So I've got some more pigs to put with them now. Quite pleased about that. Then we have some sheep. I haven't actually used any sheep on the layout. I've actually neglected from using sheep on the layout. But I have got a couple of ideas I could use for them on the layout in mind. Which I'll talk about later. Some horses. Got some horses on the layout already, but I can use these on the layout as well. Then we have these, which I believe are the turkey in there, and a couple of geese. Not too sure where I'm going to put those on the layout, but I'll find somewhere. Actually, I think there's a turkey in there, or is that a goose? Dropped it again. No, actually, I think these are all geese. I thought there was a turkey in there, but no, they're all geese. Not sure where I'm going to put them, but I'll find somewhere. We've got this flower bed with flowers in. That'll look nice. Not sure where I'm going to put that yet, but I'll find somewhere. The last couple of items, we've got some milk churns. I know some of you are probably thinking, well, aren't these a bit out of scale? And they probably are, to be honest. But that doesn't necessarily mean I can use them on the layout. Because I have an idea for these. Whether they're going to be entirely appropriate, or whether they're going to look silly, I don't know. But you know, that don't see a reason why I couldn't use them, to be honest. I can still find a use for them. Then we've got these last two items. We've got a pigeon loft to keep pigeons in, and this chicken coop. I don't know if you can get any chickens for 00 gauge, but I'll try and find some, so I can put that in the garden, because I've got some little wire mesh, so I can put some of that up outside the chicken pen, so the chickens have got somewhere to run around in the day, and then going back in at night, basically, obviously. But in the daytime, I can just run around that one little area, put some wire mesh around it. Put this chicken coop there, so I might be able to find some chickens. If I can find some, that is. So that's all the new items I've got to use on the layout. So there's a lot to keep me busy here. So I better get cracking with what I need to do. Okay, so what I've done is I've got rid of the building. Just simply removed it just pulled it off because it was just PVA glued on. Removed the fencing, including the fencing from here, which is over here for the time being. Also from there I've removed the tree, bushes, I've removed a couple of those as you can see here. And what I've done is I've painted all this area grey, including over there because it was painted green before. I've also removed the bins, the milk churns and the wheelie bins from there and also over there. And what I also did was remove the scatter and painted this bit grey as well. It's had a second coat, it's going to need probably 1 or 2 more coats by the looks of things, as you can probably tell. And so this is where the village school is going to be, which I think will be more appropriate to put it there, in my opinion. And then over there, now I haven't decided what's going to replace that bungalow eventually, but what I'm going to do is when I do figure that out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, the bungalow will then go, but then I'll remove some of that fencing and the bushes and then rework on that area there, I think. But for now it doesn't look too bad. You said? So yeah, when I eventually find another building to go there, I'll remove that bungalow, put another building there, but I'll be reworking the area around there. I might even extend some fencing around up to that area just there actually. But I don't know, I'll figure that out when the time comes. But for now it's not going to look too bad, but when I do eventually get another building to go there, I'll remove the bungalow, like I say, remove the fencing and the bushes, the trees can stay there. I'll just simply redo the area up a bit. I've also glued the wheelie bin, sorry, the wheelbarrow I should say, so the bloke has his wheelbarrow back. These empty plant pots, now, I'm not going to have a further use for these, to tell you the truth. Now they've got those ones with the flowers in, so I'm not going to use them. That little dog, I'll put him somewhere else on the layout. So I've got to let that paint dry, then give it another couple of coats, and then I'll get started on that kit, and then the fencing can go back up around there. The bushes and the tree, they can go elsewhere, as well as, of course, as the bins and the milk churns. Still no idea where I'm going to put those milk churns yet, especially these ones I already have, but I'll figure something out. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, so I've just finished building the Metcalfe Village School. Rather happy with how it's turned out. Built this over the last 2 days. Only took me 2 days and, well, not even half a day to finish this, and I'm really rather happy with how this has turned out. It also came with this bike shed and toilets as well that you get with the kit. It was quite fun to build this. It's been a while since I last built any Metcalfe kit, so it was nice to build one again. The roof was a bit of a pain to do because gluing it on it wouldn't stay on, so I had to use elastic bands for both the school and the shed here to fix it in place while the glue was drying. But apart from that though, it went together very nicely. And normally, now this kit is, unlike most of them I've done, has probably got the most detail on, because normally things like these ridge tiles up here and even the chimney pots are things I, well, leave off. Sometimes I do put the chimney pots on, sometimes I don't. And sometimes when I do put the chimney pots on, they usually get damaged slightly. But what I did with these was I took a couple of these cycle spoke covers, tightly glued them around those, then cut them off, painted the insides using black paint, specifically Revell matte black, and then just simply glued them on, and they do look quite nice. So all that's left to do now is to put this on the layout. And that really does look nice. Now, know that this has got nothing to do with the video precisely. It's nothing to do with the layout or layout updates or anything like that. But we have the January issue of Hornby magazine, and I want to show this because there's something I want to show you. Which, if you've been on Twitter and the Facebook page, you'll already know what that is. For those of you who aren't on either of those sites, then that's why I'm showing this in this video. But regardless, I'm going to show it in the video anyway. So you might be thinking, well, what do you want to show us in this magazine? Well, I'll show you. I've got the Pacific page I want to show you bookmarked using this piece of paper. So if we just turn to that page that's been bookmarked, and we'll remove that little bookmark. Now, this is the page I wanted to show you, because this is the page where they show photographs that have been uploaded to the Hornby website from the customer images pages, that people take photos and then upload the photos of the models onto the Hornby website. And in each issue they pick a handful of them and put them in the magazine. Now I want to show you this because, look at this. I've had one of my photos used in the January issue of Hornby magazine, as you can see there. Recognise that layout? Yep, that's my photo. And my layout as well. So I'm really ecstatic that I finally got one of my photos shown in Hornby magazine. And to have the layout in the photo as well. That's really made me happy. And the caption here says, Hornby's new Stanier Duchess for 00 is proving popular. Peter Gower, that's me, has added the imposing 462 to his 00 gauge layout where it heads up mainline expresses. So I'm really quite pleased about that. It's not the first time I've managed to get any of my photos used in a magazine. I once got one of my photos used in an issue of Steam Railway magazine. But to have one of my photos used in this magazine has really made me happy. Okay, so the village school has now been glued on. This paint has now been dried. It's only had 2 coats, so I was expecting it to have had a 3rd one, but we didn't need that. And so I just simply glued the village school on using a few small blobs of PVA and just simply glued it into place. So it looks really nice there. I've also put on the bicycle shed as well, also glued down. So what I need to do now is to simply just add some security fencing. Now the stuff I had previously accidentally damaged while I was trying to remove it. There's some bits here that I can reuse, and there might be some bits that I've still got that I might be able to salvage. But it might mean I might have to go out and get some more. But that's looking alright now, I think. And the reason I've painted this grey, I think I've said this before already, it's supposed to be a school playground. I could perhaps try and put some, like, drawings on the playground, like what you normally get on playgrounds, like stuff like hopscotch marking and stuff like that. But whether I'm going to have the room to simply fit them on here is another story. So I might not necessarily put them on, but I might just be able to get away with it though, having said that. Because, you know, I suppose you can have a school playground without having those on. Kids can still play around in the playground without having any things like that on the playgrounds. In fact, they could probably still play those games without having those markings on the playground, if you get what I mean. And also, because there is a bicycle shed there, they could at simply break times and dinner times to simply ride the bikes around on the playground. And it's only a... I consider this to be a village. Anyway, so I suppose a village school doesn't really need to have a big playground, does it, at the end of the day? So that's something I can get away with. So that's looking quite nice, and I'm quite pleased with that. Now I've also added the chicken coop. which has been glued down. The chicken coop itself has been glued on with PVA, and this wire fence I've added here has been glued on with Yoo-Hoo glue gel. Now this here is a village shop, or a village news agent, or off licence, whatever you want to call it. Now the reason I've chose to put it in this garden is because, well, I'm sure you could argue, well, why didn't you put it in the gardens of these houses? Which I could have done, but I thought that putting the chicken coop in the back garden of this village shop would look a bit more interesting. Because, I mean, you could argue that there's a couple who runs the shop and lives in it as well, because you can have people living in shops. So you can say there's a couple that runs the shop and lives in it as well. Hence why I got these upstairs rooms here. And that they have a back garden, and of course they have chickens. And think about it, the chickens lay eggs, they can sell the eggs in the shops, and they get money for them. Which I thought that was a very clever idea. And that's something I'm very happy to have replicated on the layout, because I think it looks more interesting rather than just having the chicken coop in either of these gardens of these houses here. Because it's a very interesting idea that, to have had a chicken coop in the back garden of a village shop that can sell the eggs. And so by doing that, I've thought outside the box a bit with that. The wire fence itself has been made using some mini wire mesh I had. Cut to size, and obviously down to scale as well. So otherwise it would look too big, so it had to be cut down a bit. Then I simply took some matchsticks, painted them once they've been cut down to size, and glued them on. Obviously I wasn't going to wrap it all the way around the coop there, because I've got this fence up here. So all I need to do really was to get only a bit of wire mesh and just simply put it along here, because the fence, this fence here and then this wire fence here, protects the chickens and stops them getting out. You could argue, how are the people going to get inside to get the eggs? Well, they don't need to get inside. Well, they could climb either over the fence, or they could just simply get around the back of the chicken coop there. So, use your imagination. So yeah, they do need to get inside obviously to get the eggs, but you could argue, well, they don't need a gate or anything. They can just simply either climb over the fence or just simply get round the back. Because there might be a door in the back of the chicken coop that they can get into. Bit of imagination there I've used. And I have ordered some chickens. Not real ones, obviously. Some double O gauge chickens. They come with a few cockerels as well. I think there's 18 in a pack of the one I've ordered. I probably won't use all 18, but I will use most of them to have them put in here. So that will look really interesting. So I can't wait for those to come, and I'll get them added in here, and then that will look really interesting. Now in this garden here I've added the pigeon loft. Looks very nice there. Originally I was considering to put it there, but I think it looks better here. And that looks very nice. So I've got a shed in this garden and a pigeon loft, so it's nice to have a couple of things in one garden, if you get what I mean. So that's looking really nice. I could have chose either one of the other gardens, but I chose this one. Because it didn't have much in this garden. I mean, in that garden there is a shed in there, just there. A couple of washing lines there. I might put something else there at a later date. Something small or whatever. I'm not going to put anything in that garden just yet, because obviously, as I said before, I'm going to replace that bungalow with a different building. Strip out some of the fencing, and then that's when I can probably redo that area there. So I left that one out for an obvious reason. And that garden there is a greenhouse, so I figured it would look best to put it in there. I really do like that there. Okay, so now here we have the cattle wagons. We have the Oxford Rail one. which has got the body off at the moment. And then we have the Hornby model, the old style Hornby model. Not the new retool model, this is the old Hornby model, which has the removable roof, as you can see here. So what I've been doing with these, I've been putting some cows in these wagons, like I've done with my other cattle wagons. I've put 3 in each cattle wagon. Now what I've done, something I didn't do with the Bachmann ones, is that in real life, I'm guessing they would have had straw or hay in the bottom for the cows to lie on. Because I have seen photographs in pictures on the internet of old gauge models of cattle wagons with cows inside them that have hay and straw in the bottom. And I've even been to Muller Railway exhibitions and seen that myself. So I'm guessing that in real life they would have had straw or hay in the bottom of these cattle wagons in real life. I didn't do that with the Bachmann ones I have, but I thought I'd do it with this one. However, I didn't have any straw or hay appropriate to use, so what I did was, I've actually gone and used some of that wild grass stuff, the static wild grass. I know it's not straw or hay, but I didn't have anything else to use. It looks a bit better than just having the cows just in the floor with just a plain blank floor with nothing there at all on the floor, if you get what I mean. It does look a bit more realistic like this. I know it's not straw or hay, but I had to use what I had, and sometimes you do have to do that. But it still looks just as good even with the wild grass in there, I will be honest. I mean, it's close enough to straw and hay anyway. But like I said, I had to use what I had. I've just simply PVA glued that on, waited for it to dry, and then glued the cows on using this Yoo-Hoo glue gel. So all I've done is with this one, which is the Oxford Rail one, which I had to take the body off to put these in, and it wasn't easy to do, it was a bit of a pain, but I managed to do it in the end. So with this one, there's 2 cows standing up and 1 lying down. And in this one, the old style Hornby model, there's 1 cow standing up and 2 lying down. Could have put 3 standing up in this one and the 3 lying down in that one, or vice versa, but I thought it would be a bit more interesting to do it the way I've done. And so I'm quite happy with that. So all I've got to do now is to put the roof back on the Hornby model, which I'll do that off camera. Oh no, I've managed to fix it on now while I was holding the camera. You can just about see the cows in there. One thing I have noticed that I might have to take some of that grass out, because just look how high the cow is in the middle there, the one standing up. So I will sort that out. But with this one now, I can fix the body back on. I will have to trim some of those bits off the ends there before I do so. But apart from that, I'm quite happy with what I've done with these. Okay, so the cattle wagons are now done. I've sorted out this one, so the cow is now at least the cow standing in this one is now at the right height, because it was standing up a bit too high before. What I just simply did was removed some of the static grass, as you can see there, and I just simply glued it back into place, that cow. So it looks a bit better now. The body's now gone back on the chassis, on the Oxford Rail one. And I'm personally quite pleased with this one. As you can see, I mean, what I like with this one is something I wasn't expecting to have happened or aiming for, but you can see the cow is right up close against the front there of the cattle wagon, where the bars are. So it's like it's looking out. So I'm actually quite pleased with that, because it looks quite realistic. And it looks a bit more interesting. You can see the cow there lying down. Then there's the other one. So I think the Oxford Rail one is probably my personal favourite out of the 2 I worked on. But I'm quite pleased with this one as well. So now all my cattle wagons I have got cows in them. You can see the others in there that are lying down. Just about. I might be tempted to get some more cattle wagons in the future. But these are done now. Here's the cat. Okay, now remember early in the video I was talking to you about these milk churns. I was talking to you about putting them in a wagon. Now I did, after filming that particular clip, I did try them out in a wagon. There's only 6 of them here. And they do look nice in a wagon, but if you're just going to put them in one wagon and nothing else in, they don't really take up that much room in the wagon. And to find some more of these particular ones will take a bit of time, especially because I don't know who manufactures them. So rather than just putting them in one just empty wagon, I thought, why not put them in this NE Grey wagon with the packing cases? I know my plan was to get some more packing cases to put in this wagon, but I thought, well, why not put 2 different loads in one wagon, because that's something I haven't done yet. And so that's sort of done. I have repainted the milk churns, so now they do look a bit better. And I've glued them into place using this Yoo-Hoo glue gel, which is really good for things like this. And I have to say, I'm really rather pleased with how that looks now. It certainly does look quite interesting now with those 2 loads in it, I have to say, rather than just one load in the wagon. So I'm quite pleased with that. So this wagon is now done. Okay, so the new cars have gone on the layout. There's one there, next to that Reliant Robin. There's another one just there. And there's one just there, as you can see. There's also a few along here. There's one there. There's that one there as well. There's another one there. And there's another 2 just there, as you can see there, where my joint fingers are. And then there's 2 over here. So those cars are quite nice on the layout. The wheels don't move, they're just plastic ones basically. Just plastic cars, like the wheels don't move or anything. But then again, they're not going to really need to move anyway, because they're just going to be static on the layout and not moving, so it's not going to really matter. Now remember when I was talking to you about the chickens that I had bought for my chicken coop? Well, they've arrived. And they're made by Preza Figures, I think is how you pronounce it. There was 18 of them. I know I said I wasn't going to... Well, I know I said I wasn't probably going to use them all, but I decided to use them all in the end. And I'm really quite pleased with them. They are quite small, but they're really nice to have. And so I'm pleased now that the chicken coop has now got some chickens and cockerels in, rather than it just being empty with nothing in there. So I'm quite pleased with that. This is probably one of the favourite things I've done so far on the layout, actually. Really quite pleased with this area. Turned out exactly how I wanted it to as well, so I'm quite pleased with that. And those chickens are very nice in detail as well. Really nice to have those. Because I had to have some chickens really for the coop. And so now I have. And I'm really quite pleased with them. Okay, so I spent the last hour or so building these little flowers, which are actually kits, which these are the ones I've been building. Which you saw me show off earlier in the video. Made by this manufacturer, who I think is pronounced Bush. I don't know. Probably pronounced that wrong. Now, with these kits, first of all the bits are painted for you, so that saves you a job. Now, I have taken these parts out just to show you, at least with these parts, to show you what you get. So basically, what you get is these. A couple of these little stands with all these little holes in them. Obviously you have to cut them off the sprue, but then what you have to do is you then have to cut off these stems here, as you can see here, and then what you do is, I'm just going to take one of these out just to show you. Now these have already got some of these stems in them because these are spares. So I might use those in the future and build some more up, but for now this amount will do. Now what you have to do is you have to glue the stems into these blossoms, and you have to glue them in place because otherwise without the glue they will not stay inside the blossoms. So you have to glue these in place. Then what you have to do, you then have to glue them into the little holes here on these stands, and then you have to cut out and glue these, what I think are probably weeds of some sort, which is what I think they are, and you have to cut out 9 of those and glue them on, as well as 3 of those flowers on that one stand. Now, it sounds easy and it looks easy, but it isn't, trust me. They are quite fiddly to do, and they are quite tricky as well. Sometimes when cutting some of these bits off the sprue, they'd go flying, and then I'd have to spend quite a bit of time searching around for them on the floor. I'd have to use this little torch as well, just to simply hold it down on the floor, just simply so I could find them, and that would take a bit of time. Sometimes the stems would come out of the blossoms and I have to glue them back in, and they weren't easy to glue in these little holes on these stands either. But they're all done now, at least the majority of these are. I have got some left, so I might use the rest in the future. I don't know yet, I probably will, but at least I've got some for spares anyway. So I am quite pleased with how they've turned out. They were quite interesting to do, but not easy to do at the same time as well. But it was worth it in the end. I have still got these other 2 kits to build as well, which is going to be fun. So I'll have to be building those up soon. But these are now done. A couple of them have fell over. There we go. So what I've got to do now is to simply get those onto the layers and get them glued into place where I'm going to put them. And they are worth doing because they do look really, really nice. And you get several different colours as well, which I don't think I've mentioned. And they look nice, they will look nice in your layout, and they do add that bit of detail and realism to the layout as well. So I'll be getting those put on, and then I can start working on the others. So this little field here now has more pigs in it, as you can see, a lot more. Having just added those pigs the new ones I had for my birthday back in December. So I'm really quite pleased with this area now. There's a lot more pigs in there. So that's looking really good now. I've also glued those new horses on in this field here with the other horses, so that's looking quite nice now. Now there's some more horses in the field. Might get some more cows in the future and perhaps put some more in this field. But for now I'm quite pleased with that, with how it looks so far. So I've added quite a few details onto the layout. So first of all, the line side cabinets. I've put one there, as you can see. I had 4 of them in total. There's another one there, and the other 2 I've put there, just beside the line. Then over by the station, I've added these platform tractors. I've put one there, which meant I've put that little paying machine there up by those ticket machines. It was originally here, but I've moved that and put it by the ticket machines and put the platform tractor there. That's one of them. I put another over on that platform there. I've also added some grip boxes. I had 4 in total. I've got one there. There's 2 on that station, on that platform just there, and the other one is just there. I've also got another one down here on this platform, and there's another one just there. So all platforms have got them. And then in the middle of that platform just there, I've added a flower bed. I've done that because I have seen flower beds on platforms, and so I figured it would be nice to put one on that platform over there, and it really does look the business there, I think, in my opinion. So I'm quite pleased with the station. Probably one of the most detailed areas I've got on the layout. So I've added these wood stacks in this area here, where the 009 track is. And I put them there just to make this area here look a bit more interesting. Just to add a little bit of detail to that area there. So I do quite like them there. I've also added all my Batman wheelie bins on the layout. I've put one there, just outside that building. I put a couple along here actually. There's another there, in between the post office and the chemists. There's that little blue bin there, that litter bin, which I've just glued there. But I've also added a wheelie bin there, just outside that building there. I've also glued a wheelie bin outside the station there, because there's got to be somewhere to put the litter. I've also glued a couple around here as well actually. There's one there, where the bungalow is. I know I said I was thinking about replacing this building, but I might actually not now. I might keep it as it is, but make some slight improvements to the garden there. I've removed the fencing that was there, so I might remove those bits of fencing next, and perhaps maybe put them alongside there, just to make it look a bit better. I've also glued a wheelie bin down there, just outside that village shop, and I've also glued a couple along outside the school, which as you can see has started to have its security fencing put up. There's one down there in that corner there with a litter bin. There's one up there by the bike shed and the toilets. And now do excuse the slightly crooked security fence in there, that'll be rectified in a bit. But I've also glued that wheelie bin there. And do excuse that paint pot there, that was just to try and properly fencing up while the glue was drying. I've added the concrete bollards. I've decided to put them in the village, so I've glued 5 of them just outside that little shop there, and the other 5 are just down here, just outside the pub. So they look quite nice there. So I've just glued them on using Yoo-Hoo glue gel, only a small amount. And so they're looking pretty nice there, I have to say. I thought this would be the best area to put them, and it is indeed. The security fencing is now finished. I was going to put some around by that hill there, but trying to do that, there was a bit of lack of room there, and it didn't look very nice, so I haven't bothered putting it around there. And to be honest, I didn't think it needed any there either, by that little hill. It's all been glued on now, and I'm quite pleased with it. Done the best I can to straighten those bits out, those pieces of fencing. So it doesn't look too bad, in my opinion. Besides, some added details and stuff later on, I might try and hide that. It looks slightly wobbly or whatever. So yeah, I'm looking quite pleased about that. Oh, I forgot that wheelie bin there as well, didn't I? I've added one there as well. So that was one I forgot to mention. So there's only a few other little bits now to do on the layout. At least for now. So it's starting to look nice. Something I thought I'd show in this video, the Devon Bell observation car, which I reviewed in the last review video I did, which I trust most of you will have seen the review by now. Now in that video you will have noticed that the lighting interior in this model was flickering. Now I thought that might have been because it either needed running in or at least needed some running, a good running before it would stop, or it may have been dirty track, but it was in fact actually to do with dirty wheels, as it was pointed out to me. And so when I picked up the model, I noticed there was quite a lot of dirt on all the wheels. So what I've done is I've used some cotton buds and some WD-40, which you can use to remove dirt from wheels. It does work quite well. And I used quite a few cotton buds. I mean, just look at all the dirt on them. You know, there was quite a bit of dirt on the wheels. But the wheels are now clean and dirt free, as you can see. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that will fix the problem. Okay, so I've got the observation car being pulled around by the H-Class. So this time I've chosen the Southern logo to pull it. And as you can see, that has definitely worked. There's no flickering at all. So that's much better now. I think we can all agree. There was a slight flicker just then, but when it was running along here and the other straight before, it was completely flickering. It was not like this. So that's massively improved it. So if any of you ever get a coach with interior lighting and the lights are flickering, check your wheels. If they're dirty, give them a good clean, because in doing so, it will improve it, and it will stop the flickering as well. Now I've added the war memorials. I've added that one there with a cross on in the graveyard, as you can see, and that one there, that was the kit, the dapple one, has been glued in the middle of the roundabout, because I have seen war memorials on roundabouts, and so I figured I could put that on the roundabout. It looks quite nice. And it has been painted up as well, because the grey colour it was before just wasn't right. So I've painted it to make it look more like a concrete colour. So that has improved it. I've also added some bushes on this hill here, as you can see. I've just added them in various places to try and make it look more natural, and so that has improved it a bit, I think. It certainly makes it look much better, I think, as well. As you can see, those are the two people up there on the hill. So that area is now done, for the most part anyway. That particular bush there, I tried gluing it up here, but it just wouldn't stay up there, so I've placed it down there. So it still looks alright there, I think. Something else I've also been doing involves this Oxford diecast Volkswagen pickup truck. I've added the milk churns inside it, so it looks like it's delivering milk. So I've added the Batman Scenecraft ones and a couple of Hornby Scaldo ones that I found lying around. I could put some more in there, but I don't want to fill it up all completely. I've decided to leave one off if it's empty. And it certainly does make things look a bit more interesting now with this model. So it looks like it's carrying a load rather than just driving round as an empty pickup truck. I was originally going to put these milk churns in these wagons, but they didn't look right, in my opinion. So I'm going to put other loads in them. So this pickup truck can now go back on the layout. I'm quite pleased with that. Also, for sale, I have a Hornby D16, which is now for sale on eBay. It has been for about a week now. It's a buy it now price for £70. In mint condition with real coal in the tender. I will be linking this item in the description. The reason I'm selling this is because I want to get the NAR green version at some point. I mean, I have got other BR black livery locos in my collection, so that's not really a loss. It will mean I don't have any with the full British Railways text on the side, but I am still planning to get the K1 in that livery with the lining eventually. So I just thought I'd give this a mention in this video. I've also added some flower pots. First of all, we have that there, which is a bucket and spade. It's not a flower pot, I know, but just thought I'd give that a mention. But that one there is a flower pot with those flowers in. Looks very nice. Put those by the side of the garden shed. Also down here, just outside the shop, there's some flowers there, which I think are meant to be daisies. Daisies, I think. But it looks quite nice there outside the front. And also down here, where the bungalow is, I've also added a flower pot there with some flowers in too. Looks pretty nice there, I think. certainly adds a bit more detail to the layout. There's also a flower pot there just outside the pub with some flowers in. They look very nice there, I think. So I think that will just about do it for this video. I think it's long enough. So I'll see you again soon for another layout update. When that will be, I do not know. Like I said, I have shown quite a lot in this video already of what's been going on recently on the layout. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos, and I'll see you again soon. But until then, take care.